Hello. I just wanted to show you guys a quick intro to typing in math in OneNote. So as you can see here, I've already typed a little bit, and typing in OneNote using the equation editor, it's different from latex. If you're familiar with latex, it's more like writing and coding almost. Whereas if you're using an application like Desmos or some online math solver, usually it lets you type symbolically, almost as if you were writing it out. And OneNote is a little bit more similar, kind of a combination of the two, really. Because to type an integral symbol, you would type /int, and then it gives you the symbolic formatting. But in terms of like x equals 4 or 5, I don't have to type uh, as much text as latex. So OneNote's a little bit more intuitive in that sense. And so I would actually do most of my math in OneNote. Even taking notes in class it's faster using OneNote's equation editor, which is also better than the one in Microsoft Word. So if I had to do some math in here, it is honestly faster if I don't make a typo than writing it out. Like having to write all of that out would have taken me a little bit more time, definitely. Plus, in OneNote, I can just copy and paste it. Very easy to do. So, same thing with typing integral. I could do, let's say, 5x squared dx is equal to 5 over 3x cubed plus c. It's pretty fast to do in OneNote, especially if you're already a fast typer. And if you're, for example, taking notes in class, you don't have to look down as much when you're typing because most people who are pretty good at typing can do it without looking. And you won't need a tablet necessarily. You would just need a laptop, which is a little bit more accessible than tablets. So I would highly recommend getting into Microsoft OneNote with their equation editor. And so I'll show you a few things. Um, Basically, OneNote uses to form a spell check to basically change these script-based text into symbols. So there's a square root, for example. There's a summation. Every single Greek letter uses this. So you just have to be able to type the Greek letters, which it's also a good way to memorize them. So, so for example, sine theta equals, I don't know, 30 degrees. That's how you would type it in OneNote. So the sine is one of those where if you type it normally uh, and then press space, it'll auto format into the correct form, which has this little empty space here. And so uh, that's how most of the auto formatting symbols in OneNote work is you press space and a little auto format into the correct form. So that's like for superscripts and subscripts, basically, as if you want to type it beforehand or if you want to type it after, it'll auto format for you. And basically, anytime you get one of these little auto formatting boxes, you can actually already pre-type what you want in there. So 3x plus 5 to the fourth divided by, I don't know, 24. So anything you want to put in the box, you just put it in parentheses and then you press space. And basically the space button is what makes it auto format itself. So you just have to press space after you type everything you want and it auto formats into where you want it. So really long expressions can fit into these pretty quickly. But if you don't use the parentheses and you try to type the same thing, it's going to act a little bit different. So if you're typing a full on expression with plus signs and stuff added, always make sure to use parentheses, otherwise it will not work correctly. it'll just think you're done after that. So, like if I type in the plus sign, it automatically formats itself. I'd have to like backspace and go back in. But you could always just, type in what you want, E to the whatever, and then just use the arrow keys and go back into the little box and type what you want. Things like that. So that's pretty much most of the basics when it comes to characters that you want to type in and you don't know what they are. For example, Greek letters, they're all here in these. If you type to start the equation editor, you type alt and equals to enter it. That's a shortcut. And then at the top, there's a list of all different characters you want, and it'll actually tell you what to type in right there. Um, if you don't know it, so you can always just look for it up here. There's some websites also that'll tell you what they are, and it's almost the same. It's usually the same as in latex if you already know latex. So all the symbols are here, and you can also uh, some of these won't have something listed next to them, so you can always just go into your settings and uh, fix it in the autocorrect options under proofing if you want to add them. Some of them aren't as intuitive, like if you're making a matrix, let's say you want to do a cross product of, you'd have to type first the brackets and then you type matrix and then you type uh, and at symbols, and that's basically what you'd use to make the matrix. There's also some pre-made matrices here as well, but if I'm doing a 3 by 3, for example, this is usually how I do it. Two ends at two ends at two ends, and then it makes a 3 by 3. So you get kind of used to it after having to make a bunch of matrices mid class to solve a problem. But it's honestly not not that difficult to do once you learn how to do it. Also, you can just copy and paste the whole matrix if you need to make a new one. So that kind of makes it easy once, like, if you're solving a problem that involves doing a couple of different matrices, you could just copy and paste it and redo the problem with the new matrix. It's like eigenvalue problems, and you just end up remembering all the Greek letters after a while, which is, I'd say, a helpful thing. Yeah, that's most of it. Another useful thing in OneNote is you can actually copy and paste your problems after taking a screenshot in here. Super useful. I'll show you some examples of some homework I did, for example, where I'll copy and paste the problem and then type in all the stuff, do the math. I just type it as I go, and usually I'll use Desmos or MATLAB to actually, as my calculator. A couple of things I didn't mention was like some symbols that are self-formatting are like the dots. So V / dot, and you press space a couple of times to get the fit. You can also do double dots. Just put 2Ds, 3Ds, gives you a triple dot. Same thing with integrals. Double integral is two I's, or like IINT instead of INT. Same thing with the triple integral. And same thing with a bar. You can type a bar over or a hat. There's all kinds of stuff, and it's all up here at the very top under accents. It shows you all the different little accents. Some of them they don't tell you what to do, but most of the time, well, mostly every now and then they'll tell you, but I'm sure it's not too hard to figure out if you really needed it, or you can always just copy and paste it. So there's all kinds of stuff in here that is super useful. I think there was one I saw that I didn't mention also, which is interesting. What's the plus and minus symbol? Just put plus and minus, and it automatically makes it for you. So super easy, pretty intuitive, faster than latex, and almost completely symbolic when you're doing it. So I'd say that is pretty much everything. Good luck if you choose to get into this. I recommend it. I can definitely probably do math in here twice as fast, or maybe not twice, but almost twice as fast as writing it by hand.